All right, and we are live. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, Christian. Welcome to the channel, and so glad you're here with me today. We have a super fun show for you guys today where we are kind of debriefing, talking about, elaborating on the session that Christian and I had, that I took Christian through, and sharing about that lifetime, what came up, some of the messages for the collective. It's gonna be really cool and really fun. I've got some clips for you as well. Before we get into it, I will hand the mic over to you, Christian, to introduce yourself and tell the audience whatever you'd like to about yourself before we dive in.
Cool. So my name is Christian. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, where I'm right now. And basically, my journey started during the pandemic, where most of us had so much free time, and I ventured into YouTube videos and I stumbled into Tarot by Janine, and that's how I learned tarot. And it's been about 3 years of me practicing, and so far, I don't do any readings, paid readings. I just do free because I'm still learning, but eventually want to get into that. And yeah, I started a YouTube page and a TikTok page, and just put in any ideas and any content I see that it's worthwhile sharing for our audience, and that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, which I will pull that up now. I'll start with showing you guys my website, of course, pointing out that I've got all the details about my services over here. You can head to the bookings if you are interested in booking your own session with me. I've also got that free preliminary consultation if you would like some more information or to touch base before committing to a session. Happy to answer questions, talk about your goals, talk about what might be the best fit for you. So definitely feel free to head over to my website for more information. And then I did also pull up Christian's YouTube here, Call to the Universe. I've got it linked down in the description box as well, along with Christian's TikTok. So make sure you guys go give him a follow, and definitely good content. I stay out of the current events lane. It's just not really my thing. It's not my vein. But I really appreciate the ways that you speak to these topics, these situations. I've especially loved your crypto pulls because I'm new to the crypto world, and it's always nice to get someone else's perspective, get the card perspectives as well. So, all right, let me pull that down. All right, yes, right, Corbin, Janine, we love sending ravens. All right, so today, guys, we have quite a bit to get to, and we'll see if we get through it all. I always have a hard time trying to narrow down a full jam-packed session like this into bite-sized pieces, and deciding what to take and what to leave can sometimes be challenging. So I feel like I picked some good clips, some good bits for you guys. Before we dive into those, though, let's kind of set the scene, and I want to give you guys a little bit of a introduction to kind of this lifetime and what we saw, what Christian was shown in his session with me. And definitely, Christian, hop in if there's anything I miss or if there's any details that you want to call out before we start diving in a little bit more. But essentially, we dropped into this lifetime, and the time seemed to be around Atlantis time. We didn't get a specific year, but that was kind of the era. And we dropped in and saw Christian as this woman. She was a ET scout, and she was definitely not from the Earth. She was not human, but she was humanoid formed. And we'll get into a little bit more of what was going on in this lifetime. But she was in the forest in the Amazon, it appeared, and was essentially in this engagement with this huge giant snake. And this giant snake was communicating to her. I'm going to pull up the image that Christian pulled from what this snake looked like. So here, I'll see if I can zoom in just a little bit for you guys as well. So you can see huge snake, glowing eyes, and we'll get more into kind of their interaction and what the snake was all about. But it was a pretty fascinating setting the scene, a pretty fascinating moment to hop in and start exploring this lifetime. Anything you want to add right away before we kind of dive into the different pieces of what this ET Scout was doing, what was going on the world at that time, that sort of thing? Anything to add?
Oh, first, the name of the snake. The snake is called Jakumama. It's a legend of the Amazon, and she's known as the Mother of Waters. And what I
Mm,
got from it is that it's she's connected to Gaia, so she's a messenger for Gaia. And what I believe is that Gaia, through the snake, called me and my team to this Earth around that time because of the issues that were going around Atlantis.
very cool. Yeah, and we'll get into more of that. I had clipped a little bit of the description of that to share later. So really fascinating lifetime. I mean, I always am super jazzed to stumble upon an ET life, and especially this time period and more of Earth's ancient history, understanding the different waves of these beings from other places and the ways that they've come in to support, to seed. I've definitely read a lot of other people's research and other session stories that have come through around the seeding of the planet. Many of you are probably familiar with Dolores Cannon and stuff that she wrote around that topic. And of course, there are others that have continued on that sort of a research vein. It's super fascinating. And one of the things that I was really intrigued immediately by was, well, why are you guys here? What are you guys up to? What's going on? What is the mission that you're on? Because there wouldn't be a reason that you're here if there wasn't a mission, if there wasn't a purpose.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, right. Um, I also think that it was really fascinating the different snake imagery that came through. So we had sorry, say the name again.
Yakumama.
Yakuma
Yacumama.
Yakumama. Gotcha. So we had her. We had also the description of Christian's suit in that lifetime. The woman was wearing this suit that was a dark material that was almost like snake skin, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I was curious what you thought of the different snake imagery coming through, Christian, because we had the snake itself, and we'll get into this more, but we also had the reptilian beings that we encountered and that were a part of this narrative, a part of this story. And then we had that snakeskin suit, and it was also part of the ship too. So I'm curious to know what you make of that kind of snake energy being so present, that reptilian energy being so present.
What I find interesting is that throughout history, we're taught that the snakes are bad, they're evil, the Bible and other legends, right? But it seems like it could be a diversion from what they truly are, which are possibly connected to Gaia and the Earth guardians, right? And it seems almost like, yeah, the idea has been distorted to make us feel a specific way through towards it, right?
Oh, 100%. I definitely agree, and I've read a couple books. One particular book, it's over on the shelf. What is it called? Oh no. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Awakening the Ancient Power of the Snake. And that book talks about the history of, amongst other things, it talks about the history of snake and how the snake used to be deified, used to be very much, and it still is in certain cultures, in certain areas of the world. But in general, the shift towards demonizing snakes went along with the shift from divine feminine to divine masculine, the shift of the yugas. And so I definitely think that there was more behind that than just separating us from like snakes on this planet. I think that there's definitely more to the narrative and more to the story there. Um, but great point, Christian, and I totally agree there. I think I will play for you guys our first clip then. Um, and this will kind of set the scene for what Christian was here doing in that lifetime, what the mission was, and sort of why he was on the planet. So let me pull that clip up and just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear this. You should be able to, but
Restoration, restore the planet, frequency change, upgrade, liberation,
How are you and your team helping to restore this frequency or to help this upgrade happen?
Mine's the planet of the reptiles. They're underground. That's why I cannot see any technology above ground.
Fascinating. So there are reptilian beings on the planet at this time, but they're underground?
Yes,
Mm,
but they live underground. That's why I need the flashlight.
mm.
Go down in the caves.
So are you trying to make contact with these beings?
It's dangerous to contact them. That's
Mm,
why the weapon is needed. They cannot, they will not interact. They will just attack. It's too dangerous. There is no middle ground with them. Kind of Russian hive mind. They have conquered way too many planets. It has to be stopped.
all right. So that's why you were sent, you and your team, to stop them?
Yes,
I'm curious how you and your team will accomplish that.
I don't have a clear plan.
So I first of all, the flashlight. So for those who obviously we're not there for the whole description, we got a little more information around that flashlight. Do you want to describe what that flashlight was used for, how that was used, Christian?
So basically, it looks like as a scout, I didn't have a weapon that would kill, but it's more of a freezing weapon. And what it looked like in when I was under hypnosis, it looked like one of those 1970s huge flashlights, the ones that had like those double three, like four AA battery, those D batteries.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it looked like. And the sense of it, the closest thing that I could tell, it would be like the Men in Black flashlight, where it would freeze someone and also make them forget something. So in a scouting mission, it would be important. So if you don't want to be seen, or if you interact with someone and you don't want them to alter their reality or whatever, you would use this.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved the Men in Black vibes that it gave, and with so many of those pop culture references, I'm firmly behind the idea that this is either soft disclosure or like tapping into these ideas from out there that are real concepts or are real in other ways. And I'm getting very much crown chills as we're talking about that. So I feel like we're onto something there. But I love the ways that the popular culture references can give us clues, give us hints to real things, right?
Oh yeah.
The other thing that I really thought was fascinating about this was that ending line where you said, "I don't have a clear plan." I just thought that it was fascinating because I know that for myself, and I'm sure many others have had moments like this where we think of these ET beings, we think of these past life versions of ourselves or these parallel versions of ourselves as being like almost godlike, right? Or omnipresent or having um they must never make mistakes or never, they must always know what they're doing and all of this stuff. And I think the more that you uncover this information, the more that you're exposed to this, uh, actually seeing lifetimes talking to these beings, you start to realize there is a little bit more nuance to it, and they are beings incarnate just as we are. They may be in a different dimension or in a different frequency or a different species, a different DNA, but ultimately they also have their lessons. They also have their experiences that they are choosing and that they are going through. And it's usually not a super smooth ride for them either, right? They have their challenges and their experiences as well. Um, any thoughts on that, Christian, or anything else to add?
Well, I mean, the ending of this, I'm gonna spoil it. She doesn't survive. Unfortunately, she does go in the caves and she's overwhelmed by these beings. So even though she has the tool, it's too crazy around this time to deal with the situation. And it looks like for thousands of years we've been dealing with this, and until now, thanks, I believe, through the galactic energy, the central sun, and the changes of the color yugas, we can finally turn the tide on this.
Hmm. And I definitely agree, and I think that it's it's one of those things that understanding the bigger picture, understanding the ebbs and flows of this galactic situation, of this cosmic, I guess, community out there that we're slowly becoming more and more consciously a part of. Of course, we are a part of it at more that subconscious level, but I think as we become more consciously aware, it's easier to understand the ways that, you know, these lower periods, or these periods where, like in this lifetime, it wasn't the right time for conquering these beings, or changing the tide. There was necessity in that period, in that time, in that frequency, right? And yet change happens. We change, we evolve, and we're at a different point now. We're at a different moment now, and of course, time is not exactly linear. Of course, we know this, right? But from our perspective in the now, it's a different now than that now then, right?
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. What else did I want to call out? I really thought the part in there where you talked about the hive mind of these beings and the ways that they've conquered other planets. I just, like, anytime we talk about like hive mind beings, I think of the Borg from Star Trek. Are you a Trek fan?
No, but I've heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not, these are robotic beings that are connected. They're cyborg beings that are connected to each other by that hive mind, and they go from planet to planet, conquering and absorbing all of the other beings that are there and assimilating them into the Borg collective. So I don't know. It's just one of those, again, soft disclosure. I saw Ken in the chat here saying, I agree, it's soft disclosure. And I think Star Trek is definitely one of those that's priming us for the future. Or the past, right? Also, hello to everyone in the chat. I see Carol, I see Beth, I see Ken, Sylvia popped in, Emma's here. So great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see Soul Family in the chat, and we're so happy to spend our Friday with you guys. All right. Anything else about the mission there before we move on to our next clip, Christian?
I just wanted to add a point to the whole hive mind thing.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest people I follow right now is Cliff High and Kerry Cassidy. Now, if anyone knows about Cliff High, his story, he has died 3 times. And the third time he came back, one of the reasons he decided to come back is because he's going to die in a great battle. So that's leading to this present time of what could be coming. And in Carrie Cassidy's case, the latest stuff that she's been talking about is this synthetic army hive mind that's coming towards us. But not to scare anyone, but those are 2 points that are coming here. And when it comes to Cliff High, what he uses is the webbot data that crawls the internet, which basically analyzes everything that humanity has put in. And through that, he can predict the future. He's been predicting 9/11, the 2008 housing market, the Israeli conflict that's going on right now. And he eventually, he's talking about July now of a lot of UFO presence coming on. So, that's what I connect now to the information I'm getting. So, interesting take.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'm sure many of you watched my video from earlier in the year where I talked about the information that came through late last year in a session where the higher self of this client was talking about the essentially UFO disclosure, and not in a top-down sense, but more in an awareness sense in us as a collective en masse, like realizing that there are these beings amongst us. And so I definitely feel like something's going to happen. And I mean, Corbin can help us out in the chat as well. But I think the astrology of July, people have talked about as being pretty potent, I believe. I mean, this whole year is kind of potent, but I think July was a moment. I don't know if you remember, Corbin, if you want to share in the chat, but I also did want to share. This is funny because I know Star Trek. Hugh is one of the Borg who he ended up developing like emotions, human emotions, and it was just a funny, weird storyline that was in there. So good one, Corbin. I love it. All right. Let me play the next clip for you guys then. So this one, just to set it up, this is describing the craft, the hidden craft that we realized Christian had hidden in that lifetime, and is tapping back into, is going to find in this lifetime. So let me play that clip describing that. Oh, and this one is fun because I used the little Opus clip maker, and so it's got the fun subtitles as well as some of those B-roll clips in there. So enjoy. I did not pay for it or do the paid version, so I couldn't convert all of them, but enjoy this one.
Something there we left. I need to go back for it. It was the spacecraft.
Oh.
It's in the mountains.
I'm curious why it's important that you recover this craft. Is there something on it, or what is the purpose?
It's also a weapon. It's needed after whatever happens in this planet. Also an exit point. It's needed to continue the fight. There's the next steps of the plan inside. Whatever is needed for the team to continue. The answers are inside. Yes, a holographic display of the galaxies.
That sounds almost like a star map.
Yes, it's a communication tool from wherever we came from. Our safety, we can only contact through there.
I was curious about that, about how long it's been hidden there, and why other beings from off planet didn't come and retrieve it. Is there a reason for that?
Been there for thousands of years. Private property, nobody else can touch it. It's DNA activated. Anyone else trying to access it will die. Has its own protection.
All right. Is there anything else around this hidden spacecraft?
It's like the snake skin of the suit.
The ship is made of that?
Yeah, and it can grow, get small.
Is that how it's been able to be hidden for so long?
It cloaks.
I love when we get little bits about like the technology that's out there. And I know, I mean, we all are aware that there's more information that we don't know as a general population quite yet, around the tech that's been uncovered, that's been recovered. But clearly this ship has not been recovered and is still there. So do you want to share a little bit about seeing that, or anything that you want to share specifically around that tech, that ship?
So I want to give a shout out to Sophie from Mason Jupiter, because when I did a session I think about a year and a half ago, she got that. I asked her like, but somehow I got a download and I asked her about her, like, do I have some kind of UFO ship hidden somewhere in South America? And she got it on point, like, yes. So definitely, and then that's why somehow I started remembering more about it. And also, like, the other idea I got from it was from JSNIP4. He also, if anyone has followed him, he also has a connection to a spacecraft hidden in New Mexico that at the right time he's going to be able to access as well. So there's definitely more out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just got to say hello to Britt Merritt, and I love that you put on your leopard print for this foray into the jungle. Very on theme there, Britt Merritt. I love it. So the other bit that I was interested in was, oh wait, no, there, I want to pull this up. You guys probably connected the dots here from my thumbnail, but the ship was near Machu Picchu, and I really think that is fascinating because Machu Picchu has always been one of those sites that I've been drawn to, that I've been like, oh, someday I'm going to get there. And you have you been there yet, Christian, or you're just planning?
Not yet. I'm planning. Yeah.
Well, and that was some more interesting information that came through, and I can't remember if I clipped that or not. It might be in one of the later clips, but around this return to the site and how that's going to be like an activation for you. Do you remember that bit, Christian?
Yeah, a bit of it. Just interesting take that information I found out like a couple of weeks ago. The Peruvian government actually tales of reptilian beings around. I'm not sure exactly it's Machu Picchu, but around definitely the mountain areas, and they
Mm.
covered up a lot of entrances because of these rumors. So that was after our session. That was actually wild to hear.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, my instinct usually is like, well, it's been so long. How can something still be hidden? But then we look at the ways that I mean, number one, how vast these spaces are. I mean, the jungle especially, there's just so many nooks and crannies and places that people have not ever been to. And especially those of us who are not like local, not indigenous folk who are like know the jungle. But I saw something too just the other day. They were talking about new mapping or like whatever the new like sonar, not sonar.
LRAD.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. They were doing that sort of a scan in Wyoming, and they found. Did you see that too? That article?
No, I haven't seen
They
that.
found remnants of a pyramid that had turned into what looked like a mountain, and a whole set of roads and buildings and a whole big city in Wyoming that they were able to see the ruins of and see the evidence of. And it all started because they were just like, well, why does this mountain look so weird?
Mm.
And turns out it's a pyramid. And I mean, we all know, we've seen many a documentary around this idea and the ways that these pyramids, especially those that are so old. I mean, you think about the weathering and then the growth that happens over it. I mean, the earth will take back over. And so I just think it's fascinating uh to get these clues and get um these what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, uncovering some of this hidden history, uncovering these things that are still tucked away, the secrets of the earth and of our history. And I think more and more we're getting the information, we're getting the memories and the remembering. And I really think that hypnosis, these sorts of regression experiences, are a big part of that. And I think one of the ways that this can really help us fill in the dots and actually understand what is history, not just what is the narrative, what is the story that we've been told, because it's not true.
Just to, and I feel like the time why we haven't found those artifacts in the past is because if they fall in the wrong hands, it's game over. These things are way too powerful, and it's all about divine timing, right?
Oh,
And a lot of us, we have to go through this process, this ego death, to let go of the old and come into a higher state of being to be able to access that tech.
absolutely, yeah. And I think that's where the trust comes in, right? I mean, we have to have a level of trust in our soul's evolution, in our unfolding as both individuals and as a collective, right? And I think it's really true that there's a grander narrative going on, and there are sort of those divine timing protections in place to make sure that things do happen um, in the right order, and that it doesn't cause further harm or destruction when it's not necessary. I love it. Ken's helping us. LiDAR mapping. Thank you, Ken. Oh, and perfectly timed comment, Corbin. I just read something about newly discovered signals below the Antarctic.
Oh yeah.
And we'll be talking more about that. Thank you for the love, Britt Merritt. I also am loving this show. This is super fascinating information. I love sharing it with you guys. Um, oh, in meditation, Britt Merritt. I love that. I love that so much. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Oh yeah, so we'll get more into this in a moment if we have the time to get to the clip. But this ship was hidden. It was hidden away, and it was guarded by that, not only like the DNA like protections, but the death traps, the protection mechanisms that keep it from getting into the wrong hands. Because not only was it a ship, but it was also this weapon. And what was interesting as well was that we uncovered that Christian alone or any of these people alone, it's not enough to get that ship. It's the team needs to come back together. The team needs to be reunited. And so that was another interesting piece and facet of this lifetime is the information that came through around the team that Christian had, and that they essentially came to Earth at different places around the globe, and they were disconnected. They were not united, and that was part of how the failure happened. That was part of the I don't know if mistakes is necessarily the right word, but how things went awry in that lifetime, because there wasn't the full team there together supporting each other. And one of the quotes that I pulled was, "It cannot be done alone. It's a team effort. This need to reunite in order to access the ship." Which makes sense too, because as we heard there, and we'll hear again in one of the later clips, part of retrieving the craft is carrying on the mission past Earth and into additional lifetimes off planet, which I thought was really interesting too. Anything to add there before the next clip, Christian?
So about the team and how is that process is going. So I came to Colombia last year, and I'm right now volunteering in hostels. And in one of those hostels, I actually met another friend from Argentina, and he was learning tarot also, and we connected, and we kind of sensed that we're in the same kind of level of learning. And I also got the feeling that, yeah, I've known him before. And then in another session with Sophie, I don't know if it's Sophie or Soltera I did, but definitely I got a confirmation that, yeah, he's part of my team. Later, a couple of months later, we reconnected here in Bogota, and we met this girl. She's from Afghanistan, but she lives in Canada, and one of her biggest uh, what's it called? She basically can see a lot in her dreams, and she fights in her dreams. And she saw that she potentially is part also of our team. So, from what I collected, it's about 5 team members. There's 2 missing. And right now they're all going through their whole spiritual awakening and process. And I believe there's going to be a time again where we'll get reunited and eventually go forward into whatever mission we have to do, if it comes to discovering the ship or anything else that we have to do as a unit.
Very cool. And I know we've talked about this, Christian, but it just makes me think of Sense8, the Netflix show from, I don't know, a couple years ago, 5 years, 10 years ago. I don't know how long
Ooh,
it's
it's
been.
old. Yeah, I think it's 10.
Okay. Oh God,
Years.
time is flying. I don't
Yeah.
know if any of you guys have seen that one, but the general plot of that story is these 8 individuals spread out across the world, and they're essentially a part of the same soul group, and they are connected telepathically. And beyond that, as their bond grows, as they get to know each other and building their trust, building their skills, they start to be able to share their talents, their abilities with each other. And there's some really fun scenes where they're like fighting together, and like each person will like swap in and kind of do their specialty to help complete the mission, help get them out of the situation. And I thought of that just over and over throughout the session. Every time we were talking about the team and that idea of fracturing to then come back together to be stronger for it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I also get X-Men vibes, especially with the ship and the whole thing. It's always as a kid, when I saw the '97 show, the theme just like I just get goosebumps, and it's like, okay, how am I connected to this?
Oh my gosh, I know, right? The X-Men is definitely, of like the superhero genre of the comic book characters, like the X-Men is for sure my favorite, like hands down, and such a huge connection to like on that energetic level. And I definitely think there's a couple different layers to that. And I am loving this stuff too, Ken. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Okay, let me play the next clip then for you guys. Before I do that, just briefly, because I'm going to try to keep us on time here. There was a bit about the snake And we touched on that at the beginning there, where this snake was not a normal snake. It was a messenger from Gaia, and she was essentially, number one, the being that called in the team, called in Christian to help, but then was also trying to warn Christian in this lifetime about the threat. And I thought it was really fun, the terminology, the wording that you used when you were describing this snake and how it looked, but the way that it was hypnotically looking at you. It was using its eyes along with the telepathy to connect in with you and to communicate. And I just thought it was fun to have the hypnotic snake come through in the hypnosis session,
Yeah, and I didn't know this was part of the legend of Jakumama, that's how it actually communicates. It hypnotizes you through the eyes.
Amazing. I love that. Another piece on the snake bit before we move on, but just reiterating this idea that I just really think we're being called to reframe or reorient our perception, our feelings towards our emotional reaction to reptiles. And I just think that it's such a big theme. And, my dad, for one, my dad is absolutely terrified of snakes. He hates them, like gross. He hates them. If I ever had a snake, he's like, I'm not coming in your house. and yet I think that so much of this is cultural conditioning. And I think it's also not just this lifetime, it's lifetime upon lifetime. Because Christian and I were talking about this before we hopped on, but the ways that the snake imagery has shifted through time, and at one point snakes were deified, and they were worshipped, or they were a part of the like god imagery, and that certainly has changed. And in current day, I feel like snakes are very much looked up as evil, and they're of the devil, and yet I think it's really calling us to reframe our ideas here. And even though we do have some nefarious reptilian beings, I think we can also safely say we've got some nefarious human beings. We've also got some nefarious other beings. Like there's that spectrum of beings. And I think that's a really important piece to call out when we're talking about a subject like this, and we're talking about beings like this, because it really is about understanding that nuance and not just painting with a broad brush. Anything to add there, Christian?
No, that's what I like of being here and touching down on my indigenous roots. Like later after this session, I'm actually gonna go do an ayahuasca retreat with a family of 5 brothers from the Amazon, and seeing how they see nature differently, and especially the snakes and stuff. It's a protector and it's a guide for them. So it's interesting that.
Mm-hmm. And Corbin saying, I always role-played Storm. May I develop weather control powers? I know, Corbin, we need to do a full session diving into that lifetime and then share that with people, because I think it'd be really interesting. We briefly dipped into a lifetime with Corbin where he had weather control powers, and it was really fascinating stuff. And I've been wanting to go back there and dig in some more. So thanks for bringing it up, Corbin. All right, guys, let me play that next clip for you. This one's a good one.
Curious if there's anything else that feels important.
The classic switch here. Give me a moment. There we go.
From this lifetime.
Connected to Egypt as well. There's a connection between the reptilians, the pyramids all over the planet, the fence system for Earth. They turn that off. It has to be activated again. There's different individuals that activate different pyramids, different humans on Earth. Same process as us. They have to go there and activate them. All technology connected to Atlantis.
So at some point after the fall of Atlantis, it sounds like the reptilians shut those defense systems down?
Not during the fall, before the fall. It was a Trojan horse kind of. They infiltrated that society. Betrayal. They betrayed the humans here. Betrayed the species. Took over after. That pyramid of light that you asked about at the beginning, that was It's a huge pyramid in Atlantis. It's a crystal pyramid of energy in the middle, surrounded by water. It was the main pyramid. Controls all of them.
Is that crystal still in crystal pyramid still in existence today?
Antarctica. I think it's in Antarctica. That's why that place is so protected. Nobody can go.
Fascinating. Was it moved there, or was Antarctica, or was that part of Atlantis?
Atlantis is not a place. It's what you would describe Earth, I guess. I guess it's another way to describe Earth at that time. But this pyramid's there, and it's lush around it. It's tropical. What's in there? It's hidden through the ice walls.
I love that so much. And sometimes one of my favorite things is kind of playing dumb in a session and asking questions that I kind of know the answer to, but like I'm curious to know what's going to come through. And it's always fun to have that confirmation of either what I feel, what I like my intuition tells me, and then or what I've like learned from someone else. And after that, Christian, in the session, you probably remember you brought up Admiral Byrd and the mission that he had of exploring the poles and what he discovered or what he wrote about in his personal journal and was told to keep quiet around the lush tropical land that he found in Antarctica when he flew over. And I definitely think that there's so much more behind the current iteration of our map and what they tell us the world looks like, what the Earth looks like. And I think that there's some nuance there. I don't know if we have the full picture yet, but yeah, what do you make of this, the Atlantis connection, the Egypt connection, Antarctica?
Definitely there's a secret ancient civilization there still, and remote viewers have definitely seen what Admiral Burr has seen of the tropical lush. And yeah, it looks like it's a civilization that doesn't want to be connected with us right now. And from what I feel is that Earth, we're a small little dot in a huge planet, and we're under quarantine. That's one of the exit points.
Fascinating. I feel something similar. I mean, I think that there's much more going on than we know, and I definitely think that there are more beings here than just us and those that we maybe are more familiar with, as well as those like beyond the third dimension. But I think there's definitely something to the inner Earth idea. There's too many stories. There's too many synchronicities around the globe for it to be just totally, made up. I think there's definitely some moments where the narrative gets spun and they try to paint it to be more outrageous or outlandish than it really is, or to like discredit the rumors or discredit the what people have uncovered and shared, because there is definitely a narrative of like trying to keep us in the dark. But it's not working. Surprise! We are finding the information and we are getting it.
Yeah, that's what Carrie Cassidy calls this rebel gene.
Mm-hmm. Carol's asking, why are we under quarantine? We could certainly ask the cards this if you wanted to, but I have some thoughts of my own. I don't know. Should we start there? Should we ask the cards?
Let's ask the cards and then you can go on. Yeah. Why are we under quarantine? I'm gonna pull just 3 cards.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the first card I get is the 4 of Wands. I'm using the Pulp Tarot, by the way. Second card, I get the Ace of Swords. And the third card, I get the Star. So just by the Star card, It's it's timing. It's timing. We have to, we're like an egg. We have to cook. And until we evolve and can handle this information, we're not gonna be able to join the galactic family. Like, this is the message that, yeah, we have to wait until we're cooked to pass through this portal.
Hmm.
That's what I'm getting. Double divide timing.
I feel that too, and it reminds me of one of the things that Sherry Divban was saying in the show that she and Soul and Lisa DiMartino did last night. And Sherry was talking about the ways that we're seeing folks uh, who are awakening too fast because of the ways that the world is changing and shifting, and they're kind of tossed into this maybe a little bit prematurely or a little bit before they've had maybe the baby steps, and it is causing psychosis in people. It is causing people to have breaks and to have a hard time holding on to reality. And I think that there's purpose in all of it. I mean, we can't say for certain what that person's life path is, what their soul's chosen for this incarnation, and of course we don't want people to be like having mental breaks, but at the same time, I think I think there is something about that timing, and that the drip drop of information, the kind of breadcrumb trails. And I think there is some trust needed in those hidden hands in this story, in this human evolution unfoldment. And I think that a lot of those hands are us in our higher selves or in parallel lives as ET beings. And I think we'll get out of quarantine when we're ready. And I think we're closer than we might imagine. I really do.
Yeah, definitely, with the whole disclosure movement, the UFO stuff, we're getting closer and closer, and we're gonna see this July what's up.
Hmm. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, the other piece that I wanted to talk about was how you mentioned the other teams, the other beings, the other humans that are activating different points. And I definitely think that I mean, there have been plenty of books written from other perspectives of other ET scouts in similar situations, or other missions that kind of fall into this similar idea. But I know many of those watching this video, those a part of this community, have that knowing of like when they visited sites, or they feel that desire to visit these sites. And for many, it's activation kind of both ways. It's an activation for you, but it's also an activation for that point. And it's a collaboration between us and Earth. And I just think that it's pretty cool. It's pretty wonderful to have that cooperation with the planet, and to have these points. And I don't know, there are times where I like think about this big narrative, this big story, this all these different pieces, and it's just kind of wild to think about it all working together, and how many how much support there is from all different levels for this. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Britt, what are you saying? When I visited you visited the pyramids. I went to the bottom of the 3 smallest pyramids and sang Amazing Grace. I wonder if I activated something. Could very well be. Could very well be. We know that sound and the vibration of our voice definitely has power beyond what we maybe consciously are aware of. And I think especially with songs like Amazing Grace, which are, I feel like that's something that's like there's a reason that it's so prolific, and so many people hold on to that the feelings, the emotions of the song, but the notes as well. It's really interesting. Music is one of those things that I really love digging into. Okay. Well, we're getting a little close to the hour here. Let me see which one I want to play you guys last. I think we'll do that one. All right, let me play you guys the next one.
Humans are key to liberating other planets, but they have to go through their soul's journey. That's why it started about 5 years ago with the pandemic. People started to wake up en masse.
So it sounds like humans are the key because through our evolution or through our process of waking up, that we have like a ripple effect, or like we have an effect out. Can you tell us a little bit more about how we're the key to other planets?
With the keys on the DNA, we have DNA from all over the galaxy, the universe. That's why it makes us so powerful. That's why it makes us stronger, better than other races, even though they look down upon us. But they know that we're more powerful than them. The reptiles are afraid. That's why the pandemic happened. As the DNA is being upgraded, and it happened to stop that corrupt poison zombify. Many of us were warned when this happened. That feeling. That's a strong feeling not to partake of this. The ones that were strong enough to survive this will be the ones fighting.
So, of course, we're on YouTube. We want to be careful with the words we choose to use here, but I think most of those watching this are probably aware of the larger picture of the past 5 years. And I just really loved, number one, that confirmation that we got of the different DNA combinations that we are, and how we are this product of all these different races, all these different DNA bits and pieces put together in this beautiful array that we are, and the ways that we are evolving, we are upgrading, and that now is the time that we are more powerful, and we are in that position to shift the tide, and we're seeing the ways that things are shifting in the world, and it might not appear that way if you pay attention to CNN, but there's certainly that kind of what is it, like the death gasp of the dying darkness, and the ways that they're really just clinging on in all the ways that they can. We were talking about insurance and insurance companies earlier today, and just how frustratingly horrible that system is, and how it's gotten worse lately. And it's like they're not even afraid to show how horrible and evil the system is. It's like just being very open about it. And I think that that's one of those more mainstream hints or expressions of the ways the old systems are crumbling. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Christian?
I'm just tying back to what Carrie Cassidy said, that we hold the rebel gene, and that's what they're scared about. We are more powerful than any species that has suppressed us here. And that's the positive thing about this. You don't have to be scared of what's coming, because we are one of the most powerful things in this universe, and we're going to change everything. So the future is bright. Right now we're through a dark period, but you know what's coming. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And a big theme of the show last night, which is fresh in my mind and keeps popping up. But the ladies were talking about the need for holding the light, for holding on to the vision of that new earth that we want to create, making sure that we're not that we're ignoring the darkness, or we're ignoring even our darker emotions, anger, despair, sadness, fear. I mean, these are a part of our experience, but it's about, are you going to stay there? Are you going to let that become your baseline or your normal? And I think it's really giving us the opportunity to choose. And I think discernment is, I think, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, lessons that we're all here to learn this time around, and especially in this period right now, is that discernment piece. And I think when we are able to accept, acknowledge, and then let go of and release those more negative emotions, those darker emotions, it just is going to help us continue to build that new Earth faster, and to really be those lighthouses, to be those way showers, because I think that's really what, especially those of us who are awakened at this time. I mean, we're in some ways ahead of the wave that's coming, right? We're starting to see this increase in awakening, and I think we're being called to be really deliberate with the ways that we are helping those around us, the examples we're showing to people, and what is that frequency that we're going to hold.
Yeah, and that's why I love what I'm doing, especially traveling around doing the volunteer work in hostels, because I met so many people that are changing their lives, they're realizing the past it doesn't work and they have to evolve. So it gives me positivity of what's coming in the future. So I don't focus on the dark stuff. I focus on the small changes that I'm seeing here and there that are paving the way for a new Earth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And I really do think that the more that you focus on the light, the more you'll see those glimmers, the more you'll see that happening, because certainly there are people who are choosing the darkness. They're choosing that path. They're choosing to devolve into, bitter, angry, empty people. But you certainly don't have to, and you do have a choice in that. And I think when your eyes are open and you're looking for it, you're going to see those people who, they may not be as awake as you. They may not have all the information that you do quite yet, at least on a conscious level. But you can tell those people who are choosing the light and choosing to go that path. And yeah, I think that there's more of that than you would see if you're paying attention to the mainstream. But I think a lot of the people here are probably not paying attention to the mainstream all that much.
No, that's true.
All right, we've got looking forward to part 2. Fascinating show. I know, right? We'll have to have Christian back, because there's definitely more, and I was conservative in what I pulled, so there was definitely more that I could have pulled as well. So we've got plenty of stuff for that. Corbin saying part 2, part 2 and part 3. All right, Britt Merritt, don't get crazy. Ken saying have no fear. Absolutely. And I think that's really one of the biggest tools that they're using, is that fear. I mean, in all different areas, just trying to pump us up with that. And control yourself, control your emotions, take power back, and don't allow them to make you do anything or make you feel anything, because you're a powerful co-creator, and you can certainly overcome. I love this idea. I will think on this. Corbin saying, Jay, can we get a meditation to connect with our hidden ships? I'll have to think about that, because I feel like I don't know if all of us have hidden ships. I'm not sure about that. But I feel like the idea of like connecting in with like your ET past lives or something could be fun, or maybe just something about connecting to alien tech. I don't know. I'll think about it. All right, friends, let's see. I'm gonna pull up. Sorry, the sun is getting bright and I forgot to close my blinds here. So I was going to pull up once more. There we go. Wanted to show you guys Corbin, oh my God, I just clicked on Corbin's name. Christian. I'm on a show with Christian right now. I wanted to show you guys Christian's YouTube. Make sure you guys go over and sub. And then also make sure you head on over to TikTok if you're there. It's one of those that I started to, and then I kind of pulled back, and I haven't committed to yet. But if you guys are on TikTok, go follow Christian there as well. And then, of course, don't forget to head on over to my website for bookings, especially if you are interested in a session like this of your own. These are some of my favorite topics to explore in a session. And we didn't necessarily know exactly that this was where we were going, but especially if you're drawn to this sort of a topic, if you're drawn to this idea, you can certainly set your intentions before we go in. And I feel like you might have, Christian. Did you set an intention around this, or was there questions around this lifetime? I can't remember exactly.
I just wanted the whatever information that I had to come at that time to flow through. And I think I wanted to schedule with you in January, but it just didn't, the time
Mhm.
wasn't right. And then finally we did it in June, and it's like, okay, no, that was the time, right? The
Oh
correct
yeah,
time.
and that's really how it goes. Is there's always a divine timing to it, and if it doesn't work out, then there's a reason for that. And especially with this sort of work, when we're tapping in through time, we're working on that quantum level. There is a timing to it, and
Mhm.
it is kind of a weird thing to say, but there's a timing to how the information flows through and what you're able to access. Dolores Cannon wrote a little bit about this because obviously she did extensive research, especially on the cosmic scale, and she would have these moments where she would ask a question and they would say no, or they would say it's not the right
Mm.
time, and then she'd ask it again at a later session and they would give her the answer. And she definitely realized that there was a timing to it, and it's not in a linear sense, but it is in a sense. So
Quantum sense.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, Christian, any last words for the audience before we go?
Oh, no, not really. Just thank you for enjoying the content, and stay tuned for more.
Absolutely, yes. Smell of coffee came to you. I love that, Brimerit.
Oh, well, I'm here in Colombia, the best coffee in the world. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Oh my gosh, I agree. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this wonderful show, and we'll definitely be having Christian back to share more. And I feel like we only pulled a little bit of tarot, so I feel like we got to work some more tarot in next time because I love working with the cards and I love your take. So, and yes, absolutely. Oh, this one. Nope, not that one. You guys are coming in too fast. There we go. Have a great trip, Christian. Absolutely. Enjoy your journey. And I think we'll all be excited to hear a little bit about that next time. And yeah, have a great weekend. Or if you're watching this on the replay, have a great week. And we'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.